Hi everyone, and welcome to Book Club with Bay. I'm Bay, and this is Bay. Hi Bay.
Hi, Bay.
um,
It's
and
weird.
today
I'm used to this is other
I know
Bay.
today we're talking about Winter Lost by Patricia Briggs, the 14th book of the Mercy Thompson series, which I do have a physical copy of, but I left in my mom's car. So
Oh, well, that's disappointing.
isn't it? It's sad.
Is it pretty
But here
though?
we are. It is pretty. It's very pretty.
Excellent.
Um, but, so it's been a while since we've been here.
It's been
It's
so
been more
long.
than, yeah, I think it's been almost 2 years
Close to
or
two
over two
years.
years. Yeah.
Yeah,
So we've been waiting a hot minute.
yep. Because
Yeah.
the last one was a few months late, and then this one's like over a year late.
Yeah. I don't know what's going on. I bought the book at Barnes and Noble. This is, I don't know what's happening, but um, the fantasy section in general is like really small now. It's a lot smaller
Rude.
than the other like fiction sections. And I
Rude.
was like, I don't know how I feel about that. Or I do know how I feel about that, and I don't like it. But
It should
so,
be growing. It should be growing.
well, half of it is just Sarah,
She does
and
have
then
many.
like the rest of it is just like assorted, but it's not that. It would just like was really small. I don't know.
Oh, that's disappointing.
Yeah.
I
Um. They also had uh, like a bunch of dark romances.
yeah.
Like Haunting Adeline was actually in a bookstore, which feels really weird, honestly.
Yeah, oh, like I will say with Haunting Adeline, like parent parents need to like this sounds wild to me, right? Because like my parents never policed what I was reading, but also I wasn't in high school trying to read Haunting Adeline. But the amount of people I've seen online talking about seeing high school age students, or like even in your country, younger than high school, because like
Hmm.
year eight, like year eight kids, so they're like 13, 14 years old, reading Haunting Adeline.
I'm not surprised.
I'm disgusted though. Like, I feel like that's not even for most adults. It's not even for most adults.
Yeah,
I don't feel like a 14-year-old girl should be reading that. Like, how fucked up is that
actually,
going
no,
to.
no, because one of our friends, because Addie and I have been taught, we were just talking about it, and we were at a gathering, like playing D&D. That's what it was. I was like, where were we? We were playing D&D. We were joking about it, and our friend bought it and started reading it without telling us that's what he was doing,
Oh,
and
God.
then he texted us like, "Fuck," and we were like, "We would have told you not to." Like, you could have
Yeah.
asked.
But, like, you remember when you were a teenager, right?
Yes.
Like, Addie, for example, massive crush on Stark. Like, she will talk forever about how much of a crush she had on Stark when she was a teenager.
Hmm. Yeah.
No one wants no 14, 15, 16, 17, hell, even 18, 19, 20-year old girl should be crushing on Zayd Meadows.
Well, my House of Night crush was always Laurent, so that's not helpful either.
Probably healthier though.
Oh, then say I was like, then Stark. What? Um, yeah.
Yeah, like Laurent he is child's play. He's tame. He's perfectly appropriate, okay, compared to Zayd Meadows.
Well, yeah. I
Because
mean,
because also like the I know that we're not here to talk about this, but we're going to talk about it for a minute because this is book club with Bay and it's what we do. Um, I will never get over the fact that it's like, but he rescues trafficked children, so he's a good guy.
Yeah,
That no.
I could have excluded. But real quick, so when it comes to adult books, when I was like 14, I actually picked up the first Mercy book and I read like 2 pages of it and I was like, I'm bored, and that was it. And
Mhm.
I also a couple times tried to read adult romance novels, also got bored. But I feel like adult books being written for adults honestly helps because it can be kind of easy to get bored if you're younger. And I think part of the problem with the romance novels today is the reading level required is much, I think it's lower, if
Not
I
just
may.
that, there is that, but then also dark romances, for example, well, not for example, they're literally what we're talking about. They play on the tall, dark, and handsome trope, right? Like when in the like Vampire Academy, Dimitri, he was tall, dark, and handsome, and he was mysterious, even though like she was with him every day and stuff. There was something forbidden and dangerous about him.
Mm-hmm.
And that is very much a trope in a lot of YA. And what is Zaid? He's tall, dark, handsome. He's dangerous. He's bad boy. He's this. He's that. And he rescues trafficked children. So like, what's a little bit of like casual stalking and gun rape, like when he rescues trafficked children.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and it plays. It has. There's a reason why a lot of women who will read dark romance are also really massively into fantasy, because
Mm-hmm.
dark romance has a lot of similar vibes and mirrors to. I mean, also it also doesn't, but it also does have a lot of that
Well,
in
yeah,
common
I
with
will
fantasy.
also say though, like it gets so old after like a minute, you know. Also the market's very oversaturated with
Oh
some
god, yeah.
less than, we're trying to be nice, but some less than
Quality.
quality entries at the moment. I have not read a romance novel in 6 months. I can't
Well,
be
you'll be
asked.
happy with that next series of book club books, I guess.
Well, they're different.
Get back into it. I know, but they're still romance books, though.
Um, the first series, I disagree that it's purely that. I think honestly, it's the only series I've read that actually does it like 50-50. The other ones, I agree.
Yeah, because we've already done once burned, twice burned, the burned one,
Once bitten,
the
yeah.
electric heat.
Yes, we did
we
that.
did
Yeah.
that one. Yeah. And while I was doing the graphic audio, like I can't remember most of what I had to listen to while I was trying to chapterize the graphic audio, because that was an effort and a half. But like, also, I don't know if I'm going to be able to listen to the graphic audio though, because let me
Which
tell you,
one?
there is nothing more disgusting of Night Huntress. There's
Okay.
nothing more disgusting than listening to two people who are in different rooms
Pretend like they're
making kissing noises, and then them just like laying them on top of each other while there's dialogue also happening. I'm like,
I also I'm very used to the audiobooks. I've been listening to them for years and like rereading them for a long time. And so I'm very used to the audiobooks. So I like don't even want to touch the graphic audios.
look, there is a couple of bits though. You never warned me that we're gonna be stuck with another kitten.
You know what though?
It feels less obnoxious.
It is less obnoxious, and also I don't know, without Justine Ayer's voice, it's just less terrible. I don't like it. But also,
there is
sorry, my ADHD drugs have not kicked in. But
That's okay.
Tavia Gilbert, her Bones voice was a choice. I feel like she made the choice
I have no idea what
when
her Bones voice is. I haven't heard it.
when oh yeah, so that's the way. I mean, you have to listen to the regular audiobook because you need to
I
hear this.
will.
So I feel like she chose it when she first got introduced as like maybe a one-off character and then just kept it. I can't imagine that this was an intentional choice. And by the time that she realized that this was not somebody that was going away, she was like, "Oh no, I've used my good British accent for a different one and a different character. And now it's just like this." And they were like, "Yeah, it'll be fine. Don't worry. It's only 7 books worth."
There was a scene in the graphic audio that just made me cackle, and I'm just finding out which chapter it is because I'm pretty sure it's the end of the chapter. So if I see what chapter it is, I'll be able to bring it up.
Which scene is it?
I'm finding it. Give me a second. Shush.
Okay, sorry.
It involves Kitten. What I'm looking for specifically is one instance of him saying kitten in the graphic audio. And I'm pretty sure it's in the first book. They have sex for the first time in the first book, don't they?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, it's that.
Yes.
It's the morning after that scene.
Oh, that's chapter 20 something, I want to say.
You are wonderful. Thank you. But we're doing this until.
Yeah, don't worry about why I know that. It's fine.
No, because he was just saying I love you. They were saying I love you in chapter 19 or chapter 20. So it must have been before that.
Here, I'm sure I have it bookmarked. Give me a second.
God damn it. I have no idea what actually happens in the scene. I just know that she storms out the next morning.
Yes, she does. Give me a second.
Oh, found it.
Okay,
so what chapter are you? You are chapter 12. At the very end of chapter 12. Give me a second. I'm finding. You know what? This will be the easiest way to do it, is to do it through here. Okay, let's send you to my phone. This is ridiculous. Sorry, I'm just amusing myself now. No, shut. I don't want it to go to you. I want it to go to my phone. Welcome to Book Club with Bay, where we talk about anything except for the book we're supposed to be discussing.
Yeah, we'll get there.
We will. Why are you not showing up? There we go. Thank you. Okay, now I want to open you with VLC so I can find the chapter. There we go. Because, there's actually an actual British guy doing. Because, it's graphic audio.
Yeah.
Okay. Chapters. I'll go to chapter 13 and then I'll skip back.
I tried not to look at him. Not even pausing to find my underwear or bra. I just threw on a shirt and yanked at my jeans. God, my keys! Where did I put my keys?
You can't just storm out and pretend this never happened.
Not now! Ah, keys!
Kitten!
There we go.
I didn't stop. I drove straight home.
He just sounds like, God damn it. So, it feels So that kitten feels, I mean, the lack of T's in the middle of the word is it has in common with kitten.
Yeah, kitten.
But it feels less obnoxious. And I don't know what her Bones voice is, but I feel like it will still be less obnoxious than kitten.
You're gonna almost DNF when you hear the Bones voice. I'm not gonna lie.
Is it that bad?
It is that bad. It is
What?
100% that bad. There's not a good way for me to give me a second. Sorry, we're doing this.
Okay, you know what? If you're able to search through the chapter, go to that exact spot, go to the end of chapter 12 and show me kitten the morning after.
1 second. Let me see.
Sorry, I'm
Okay, so if you go to Audible and you go to the sample,
okay.
like 4 minutes in.
4 minutes in on the sample. Okay. I'll go to your Audible as opposed to mine because I might have a different sample. I wanted to go to .com, not .au. Thank you. Oh, friggin' what's the name of the book again?
Halfway to the Grave.
Halfway. Thank you. Halfway to. There's too many graves, and I couldn't remember which one was what.
Honestly, yeah, I know it's Halfway to the Grave. Past that, I have reread these books a million times. I have no idea what's going on.
I can't skip forward on the sample. So do I just have to sit while it plays?
What?
Do I just have to sit through while the sample plays?
I was able to skip forward.
How?
I don't know.
You know what I'll do? I've got the actual audiobook as well. I'll just send it. They'll do the same thing I just did. Okay.
Let me tell you a good chapter where he's actually speaking.
Okay. Airdrop.
The beginning of chapter 5.
Chapter 5. Okay.
Blackstone Audio presents.
Oh, shush. Let me bring it back down to normal speed. I worked out a way to make VLC just automatically play at double speed, so I don't have to manually do it every time. Okay. Chapter 5.
5. It was week 5. I trudged into the cave, wishing Bones would just beat me unconscious again instead of what I knew was coming. My makeover, courtesy of a vampire. He wasn't perched on his usual boulder. Maybe he was still sleeping. I was about 10 minutes early. It didn't take as long this time to give my mother the latest in a
This
long
is so
line of
slow.
lies
I never
about where
listened to
was
this on
going.
regular speed.
The first few weeks I told her
I
I'd taken
know.
a job waitressing, there for boot camp.
Just like skip forward
Very
30 seconds.
extracurricular, a whoosh of air, skull, and testing me again, Bones. Where did you come from, anyway? There, he replied, pointing up. I followed his and propelled himself. Straight trick. Something new? No, love. he said as he plummeted down with grace. Something old like I am. Remember, just because a vampire isn't in front of you doesn't mean he's not right on top of you. Got
There
it.
you go.
I
Okay, you can
murmured.
stop.
5 weeks ago, I would have blushed like crazy. Now I did.
But they have very sexy scenes.
Yeah,
How does that work?
I know you're probably thinking, there's no way it's that during those. It is. It is precisely like that. So,
We're not doing this series next. I refuse.
I'm not going to say you get used to it, but like,
Bad Cockney. Bad Cockney.
yeah, it's pretty bad. You know, it's fine.
I do like the graphic audio guy.
Yeah, I'll
I
have
like
to
his
try that.
voice.
But anyway, we're talking about this book,
Yeah.
and it's been 20 minutes.
Yes. Winterlust.
So it's been 2 months since we since the last
Soul
book.
Taken.
By the way, it's been not even a year since book 8. So she hasn't, because she says like Mercy, the main character, says I haven't seen Gary I met Gary like a year ago.
Yeah, and Peter's only been dead for like a year.
Mm-hmm.
Because she mentions that specifically, and they're like, "You idiot!" They've been like texting and flirting for like months. You wackadoodle.
Yeah,
It's like, oh, okay, fine.
I was excited
Which-
about that actually. I was like,
I like that.
yay.
I like that. I like that. I am anything that makes Honey happy, especially, and if it makes Mercy cranky, but makes Honey happy, then I'm all for it.
I don't know that she was like cranky about it, but
Look, I feel like at some point, right, there's going to be a thing where it's like Mercy's going to get cranky because Honey or Gary is like team the other one instead of team Mercy when she has a thing, and she's going to be like, and because she's the main character, they'll be wrong. Okay, they'll be wrong, but in our heart, we'll know that they're correct, and Mercy will be cranky because Gary's like siding with like his girlfriend or something instead of his sister, and it will make me happy.
So real quick, on the subject of the structure, we didn't rate it. All right, anyway, on the subject of the structure, let's talk about it first. So Mercy books are by and large first person. That's it. You're Mercy's head the whole time. Lately, starting with book 7, like every couple of books or so, we get like Adam.
Was it 7? I thought it was 10.
It happens in 7 when he gets kidnapped.
Oh yeah, very. And then
it's brief, but that's
yeah,
where
it's very brief. But yes, I forgot about that bit. Yeah.
So far, it's happened in 7, 10, and 13.
Yes.
10
and 13 were more.
10 was like half the book with Adam.
Yeah.
And 13 was like more like 7, or it was like 1 or 2 chapters.
It's weird being with Mercy when we're in third person.
I agree.
I don't like it.
I don't like it either. I agree. I kind of hate it. But so like half this book is not in Mercy's head though, and it's not all Adam either. So there's interlude things that are not chapters.
Yeah, it's kind of like just their scenes, just individual scenes, I guess would be the way to.
And I guess this is useful to talk about before we talk about ratings, because I didn't dislike the interludes, but I was confused.
Yeah.
I spent a lot of time
think-
confused and like trying to pay attention, but kind of like okay, I have to like really remember this because it's gonna pop back up, and a lot of them didn't pop back up.
Look, going back through them now, they actually all do serve a purpose to some extent. It's just, it's hindsight. So like, for example, the very first interlude was summer wasn't his season, but the creature known to the locals as John Hunter still liked the storms. This one came with lightning and thunder, the interior of his cabin, blah, blah, blah. And it's kind of like just setting up the vibe of what's actually happening with people's motivations. The second one is kind of giving a hint about the spell about the wedding. The third one is Coyote being like, this is weird. Why am I trying to save my kid? And we don't know until later that the kid that he was trying to save was Mercy, not
Jake.
Yeah.
And then there's, where did Jesse's come back?
I don't think Jesse's really came. Oh, it explained, I guess, why she dyed her hair. But also, let's talk about Jesse's for a minute, shall we?
Yeah, so Jesse gets.
How long has it been since her and Gabriel broke up?
Not that long.
In universe. Well, he's a year older than her, isn't he?
It's been.
So she's in university now. So they've been broken up for over a year now.
Okay, so Gabriel is in Frostburned. That's like a whole thing. Is he in Nightbroken? Or is that where they break up?
He went away to college a year before she did, which is why they broke up.
Yeah.
And she's in college now. So they've been broken up for over a year. For a year and a half. Because it's December now.
It's going to bother me. Let me.
I'm bringing up the timeline.
So Gabriel is like solidly in Nightbroken. That fire touched.
Was he just home for a break, I guess, in Nightbroken then? Because they would have been broken up by that point.
He's not mentioned in Nightbroken. It feels wrong.
I thought you said he was in that one.
No, sorry, in Fire Touched, sorry.
He must have just been home. Oh, he was home for summer at that point.
Yeah.
But they were broken up.
So it's been a hot minute. Is the situation.
Wait. Or is Fire Touch the one where he leaves the letter for her? It's being like, look, we're breaking up.
No, that's Smoke Bitten. because that's when Mercy
Okay, so
goes.
well, that's
That's when
only
Mercy
3
goes
months.
into the trailer because her neighbor's ghost is palling around.
Okay, so they're the same age then, and they've just gone to different colleges then, or something.
I think so, yeah.
Well, that was only in August, and now we're in December.
Is
Smoke
that
Bitten was
actually
August year 3, and we're in December year 3.
Yeah. Yeah, we are.
When did Jesse wait? When do Jesse and Gabriel break up? Mercy.
It's only been a year since Frostburn. That feels so ridiculous.
Okay, wait. Jesse Mercy Thompson. Hopefully the wiki will have relationships. Here we go. Gabriel. In Frostburn, he left for the University of Washington in Seattle, but since she's only 1 year behind him, they're planning on getting back together. But before she can accept enrollment there, she realizes that she is a liability for the pack and needs to stay closer to home, and they break up permanently in Smoke Bitten. So he was away, but they were still together. Okay. And then they broke up permanently in Smoke Bitten, which means that it has been September, October, November, December. It has been 4 months since they broke up. And I know that letter says that he's starting to see he's seeing someone now or something. Because he started seeing someone like 2 weeks after they broke up.
But they've been on again, off again for like a long time. At that point, like a whole year. Well, no.
Yes, but
like
he's. I mean, I was about to say he's 19 years old. That might explain it. Though he's also fucking 19 years old and he's an idiot. Like a lot of 19-year-olds will go one way or the other, where it's like, no, I'm 19 years old. I can't get married, or I love you. Let's get married.
Yeah.
I guess he's in the latter because it's been 4 months since he broke up with his long-term girlfriend and he's engaged.
Yeah.
And it's been 4 months since he permanently fully moved out of Mercy's house, and he's not inviting her to the wedding. Why is she doing it? Why is he getting Eric Knight treatment?
I don't know,
Patty,
what's going on.
I'm wondering if she's just forgotten that it actually hasn't been that long. Because Smoke Bitten came out 4 years ago.
Also, how squished together. I forgot how squished together everything is.
Yeah,
because
year 0. Because year 0 starts in November. The series starts in November, year 0. This series has only, in universe, it has only been 3 years and 1 month.
Which is
all of this has happened in 3 years. The entire thing.
It also though, so year 2 is super reasonable. Year 2 is Rivermark and Frostburn. Year 3
and Fair Game
is Night Broken, Fire Touch, Silence Fallen, Storm Curse, Smoke Bitten. I'm it's a lot,
Yeah.
A year from Night Broken, or less than a year from Night Broken, her soul has been ripped in half, and Ragnarok, question mark. Oh, sorry. Spoilers ahead. Spoiler free. This is not spoiler free. This is book club with Bay, not spoiler free book review with Bay. There we go.
Yes.
I usually don't have to say that because we're not reading a new book. But yeah. So. Okay.
Yeah. So okay. So just in terms of the Mercy Thompson series, we'll leave Alpha and Omega out of it. Year 0 has moon cold, which then transfers over into January. Then we have year 1 we get nothing until July, August, which is Bloodbound. Then September has Iron Kissed and Bone Crossed in September. Then December has Silverborn. Oh, so it's been 2 years since like Sam stopped being so friggin' depressing. Year 2 we have Rivermarked in June, and then November we have Frostburn. And then year 3 we've got Nightbroken in March to April, and then we have Fire Touched in early June, Silence Fallen in late June, Storm Cursed in July, Smoke Bitten in August, and Soul Taken in October, and now Winterlust in December. It's been a busy year in the Tri-Cities.
Also, Aiden doesn't get even a passing mention.
Oh, he got a passing mention this book.
Did he?
Yeah. It was in chapter 10. Underhill herself had put it there when Aiden, a human child who'd been trapped in her world for uncountable years, had come to live with us. And then, though Aiden wasn't currently living with us, the door was still there. Underhill, in her human seeming, used it to visit us sometimes.
Okay.
I swear there was also something about Hoel as well. I swear that there was a mention about...
Yeah, Hoel was mentioned, but I say
they meant, but
that
I swear
Aiden
they
doesn't
mentioned
live with them anymore.
Yeah, they did mention that Aiden was with. I guess it wasn't by name, but they mentioned that Aiden was living with Hoel, which we already knew, but just to be like, Aiden's there because we need him to keep Hoel under control. Which I guess makes sense, but also then just look, he lives on acreage, right? He lives on acreage. She lives on acreage lived her house where Tad now lives. They're all on acreage. Build a nice little house for the volcano dog and his wife Logan, and build a kennel for all their dogs, I guess. Because I'm guessing they're going back to rescuing fighting dogs again, because we had to pause the book for 10 minutes to talk about how bad dog fighting is. So I'm sure they're getting back to it. I'm wondering if she's been reading Sarah J. Maas, though, because there was a lot of Norse stuff in this.
There's not a lot of Norse stuff in Sarah.
In Crescent City. All of Crescent City is Norse based.
It doesn't.
They live in Midgard.
I get that they live in Midgard. That feels more like she was like, oh yeah, that sounds nice, like, than any real inspiration. I think she just Googled, or I wouldn't be surprised, sorry, Sarah, but if she Googled different word for Earth, how not to sound dumb. And it was like, other words for Earth. Terra, Gaia, Midgard, and she went, excellent. It doesn't feel like it was on purpose. I didn't take that as an actual reference.
I can't remember what else, but I know that there was other Norse related stuff in Crescent City.
Hibern, right? Like, she's calling Ireland Hibernia, basically, which is the Latin name. So I don't think that there was any meaningful reason why she picked the Latin name versus like whatever indigenous name.
Probably because it sounds high fantasy.
Well, that's just, I think because she also didn't think of the implications of using exonyms for a place like Ireland. Whatever.
Yeah.
So that's why I say, like, I don't think it was.
I am so curious to see, because there's the theory that all 3 series actually take place on the same planet.
That's what I was thinking.
And because there are references, at least with especially like Throne of Glass and Crescent City, there are references to I think it's in Crescent City to places that sound like places that are in Throne of Glass.
Yeah.
Anyway, back to this though.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
Yeah,
this was the Norse mythology book. You can tell that Patty gives a fuck about history and mythology in general.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, actually, sorry. On the Sarah J. Maas thing. Okay, so when we read Throne of Glass, Baba Yellowlegs, I know that she must have reminded you of Baba Yaga too, just like in terms of the name.
Yeah.
And Baba Yaga was a witch. Baba Yellowlegs is a witch, but what type of witch specifically? She's an Iron Tooth witch.
Hmm.
And then in this one, it mentions, I'm guessing it must be part of the mythology or something. And then Sarah J. Maas has
It's part
also
of it.
done it. Yeah, because it mentions her steel teeth in this one, and I was just like, okay, so Baba Yellowlegs was actually like that wasn't a coincidence. Like that was actually Baba Yaga inspired.
Yeah.
And it was just it was just a little like, oh, that's cool. But yeah, I remember some things in this book, and then a lot of this book I have a hard time. I was very tired today, so I didn't absorb a lot of it.
We both said when we got on here, we were like, we should have maybe pushed it back a couple days and read it again. And
Yep.
I agree with that because so on some of the reviews I saw, because I like reading reviews, I like knowing like what other people are thinking. And I saw like a little bit of mixed reception on the interludes. I liked them.
I like him.
And I feel like at 14 books, I didn't feel like overwhelmed by all the side characters because it's not like I have to remember who Ben is or who Baba Yaga is. Like I know who they are,
Yeah.
It's kind of like, I guess if I meet a new person, that doesn't make me forget who my third grade teacher was or something. Because that's just a person that's like always there now. So I didn't feel overwhelmed by all the side characters. I did it with the military stuff at the beginning. We'll get there. At the beginning, there's like something happens, died in New Mexico or whatever. And
I can't even remember what that was or what the point was.
I don't even remember either. A bunch of characters get mentioned, and we get descriptions of like hearty descriptions of like 3 of them.
And then they're in that one scene.
And that's it. So I didn't like that.
Yeah, I will say, Patty breaks one of the cardinal rules of writing.
Okay.
Which is, if it's not relevant to the plot, cut it. Or if it's not relevant to something to do with the book, whether it be your world building, your relationships, your plot, whatever. She's kind of renowned for breaking that rule every book. We'll have just random scenes where there's no point to them, but they're still just there.
In that scene, she canonizes John McCain exists in the Mercy books. I pulled my AirPod out of my ear so fast. I looked at Noah and I went, John McCain is canon. And also Adam is a giant boomer. Like
but look, he was raised in the 50s. Like, what do you
I know he
want
was
from
raised in the 50s. I don't care that he was raised in the 50s. He was born in the 50s. I don't he's a giant boomer. Okay, I'm sorry.
The last few years have left him disliking politics even more than usual. He hadn't approved of any politician since John McCain died.
And you know what? Adam is the exact same age as my dad. And my dad is also this kind of boomer where he's like, sorry if dad ever hears this, love you. But he, he's like he's like very progressive, like socially, but then is like, but John McCain was fine.
Oh, we love Dad though.
No, we do. It's just also
Yeah.
like it's so icked out whenever Adam like is trying to flirt. I'm like, disgusting. Please stop. Also,
Yeah,
the first
it's-
Moon Called came out in 2006, and so in my head it was only 2010, and so he's like, I haven't paid attention to politics in like 6 months.
That said, though, at no point though are we told though that Year Zero was 2006.
There are flip phones in Year Zero.
But there were also still flip phones in 2010.
That's true, but also it's a lot of things are funnier. Okay, like some of the real stuff that like errantly pulled in. It's funnier if Year Zero is 2006.
Okay, I will say, right, because she has done a lot to avoid heavily dating her work.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if she's actively avoiding it. Like, I feel like she would have to, right? She'd have to be keeping it in mind. Like, I'm currently in Year 3, and this has taken me 20 years to get here. 20 years, by the way.
Yeah, I know.
Well, 18, but shit. Okay,
well,
sorry.
So, like, probably the 15th Mercy book will come out like near the 20th anniversary of the first one.
Yes, I'm not gonna lie. Sometimes the math just like math, so I'm like, oh shit, that's disgusting, and I hate my life. But House of Night though is like did the exact opposite approach. I dare say hers works better. Her approach works much better
because she also, she also tries to meaningfully update the like inclusivity of the world as well as time goes on, which might date it a little bit because it's kind of like when things have shifted socially, the books have updated themselves. And
we always do that, like,
kind of the only thing that dates them, really. Otherwise,
yeah. And I mean, I will say, like, sometimes she gets a bit preachy on stuff that I feel like doesn't need to be preached. Like, again, we'll go back to the dogfighting PSA.
Yeah.
Like, I don't feel like we needed to take a break from the book to talk about how bad dogfighting is. But like we've noticed,
I think it's less that, like, talking about bad dogfighting bad is bad, and it's the most stilted dialogue anywhere. And
yes,
like the PSA is just.
I know, but like
I'm out of character for a second, and it's like
I feel like the dogfighting one is probably like the most egregious, which is probably the one why we reference it so much.
Yeah.
But then, like, I mean, like, but there's another one where, like, I can't remember which book it is, but it's after Warren's working for Kyle's firm, and we get a brief interlude of DB's bad, don't beat up your wife, because he's like, he makes a phone call, he's like, this woman I'm babysitting has a big black eye, and I had to tell the cashier that I didn't do it, and I'm here to protect her because some people just can't keep their hands to themselves. I'm like,
and then like Warren pauses to go, and some women too, and not that the message is bad, not that I disagree with it. It's not that. It's just like
it just
all of a sudden we're in stilted dialogue land. It's kind of like, you know what it feels like? It feels like you're playing D&D. Everybody's really good. Everybody's in character, and then you all go out of character to be like, what do you want for dinner, by the way? Should we order pizza? Right. Anyway, moving on. And then you like fall back into drift. That feels
another example as well is like you're watching a stream and they're like, but hang on a second, because I just got to do my sponsorship bit, and then they press play, and then it like cuts to like the pre-recorded sponsorship ad midstream, and they're in different clothes, and then it goes back, and they're like, okay, back to the stream now. That's what it feels like with a lot of them.
Yeah, like you said, not that the inclusion, and honestly though, I kind of
Patty's always been.
Now. It feels like a warm blanket.
It's always like, what's this book's PSA gonna be? Because she's also always been like progressive and stuff as well, like Mooncold, right? Like we get like a 10-hour lecture on Warren's gay, and that's fine in Mooncold.
Yeah.
Like and it just each book carries on, but it's also might have also been a bit more necessary. Maybe
in this one,
might have been a bit more necessary in Mooncold. Okay. Just based on when it came out, because like 2006.
Yeah, well, so in this book, she introduces. This is kind of true. This is true for both things, Mooncold and this one. She introduces a trans character, and
I don't even know if we're ever going to see again.
Which I was like, cool, I'm on board, let's go. And then like we didn't talk to him again. And I was like, oh, okay. But the issue, sorry, that came out weird, but the issue with that, and I've seen a lot of LGBT writers talk about this, is that there's not a good way to signpost without outright saying this character is gay. Or something. Yeah. You know what I mean? Or this character is trans, and so you have to tell, and that can feel awkward.
Well, because the thing is, if you don't write, you end up what happens in Fourth Wing, and I don't know if you might be sitting here going, "What are you talking about?"
Yeah,
exactly. There is a non-binary in Fourth Wing who uses they them pronouns, and it took me over like 3/4 of the book to realize that every time there was a they, but only talking about one person, I was like, oh, because it sounded like they were just talking about. It's like, oh yeah, they went and grabbed some lunch. I'm like, but who went with it? Like, who went with? I can't even remember the character's name, but I'm like, who went?
I didn't.
I was like, oh no, just the one, because we weren't told
at all.
Yeah, I'll tell you. You probably won't remember the character's name when I tell you, but
I was talking to my husband about it, and I was saying, like, you know, in certain periods of time, in like certain periods of history, if you went to like a play, you would get a playbill, and the playbill would be like, Janice is John's wife, and Timmy is their son, and Bill is Timmy's best friend, and stuff like that. And I feel like something that could help alleviate we have to pause and tell you is like a playbill at the beginning, like, this is Mercy, her pronouns are she, her, or something, or whatever. Or what could even be funnier is if you just point out that every character is straight, and then you get to explicitly tell everybody about everything. You can do it either way.
That would look. I feel like that would solve the clunkiness issue but also solve the making sure that everyone is aware issue.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's Hayden, who is one of the third-year cadets in Violet's squad in Fourth Wing.
I don't recall this person.
Their signet is breathing underwater. He's part of the revolution, and yeah, apparently he's always dying. Apparently is always dying their hair different colors, etc. But yeah, but they'd be talking about mentioning Hedon and then going, they went to get lunch, and I'm like, who went with Hedon to go get lunch? And then eventually I realized, oh, Hedon is. It would have been helpful to have been told that, because I every so often I'm like, but who?
I don't remember that striking me, and because I just don't remember this character.
Yeah, well,
but
probably not the most important of the side characters.
Yeah, I think also an issue with trans and non-binary representation could also be the newness of it in books written by straight people who are cisgender, because you don't see that representation a lot, so it can just feel kind of clunky in those, you know. I think it's something that'll get worked out in the next couple of years or so.
Yeah.
And overall, I'm not part of the community, or I'm not trans. I'm not part of that community, so I can't say if the representation was good or not. It didn't strike me as bad representation. It was just, the only thing I would change is I was interested in the character. Like, the backstory and everything got me interested, and then it was like, anyway.
We will never see this person again for the rest of the book. And again, I don't even know what this plot was. I feel like maybe this was just to introduce this character. I don't know. Like, I don't even know what the whole point of the New Mexico subplot is.
I don't know. Since we spent so much time on...
We spent a whole chapter talking about New Mexico, and then nothing happened.
Yeah, since we spent... Because there was him and the other guy Adam was talking to, and I was like, I'm interested in these people. We can stay here. And then we left. So I hope they come back.
Yeah, we'll see what happens.
Like, I don't know. I want to see Adam have friends. I think Adam doesn't have friends other than Warren. Yeah, and Warren only hangs out with Mercy. So I'm down to see some of Adam's friends. That's cool with me. But whatever.
And I will say, sorry, just jumping back to the timeline thing as well, because I was just thinking about it. I'm like, oh, well, look, sometimes it's almost like him and Daryl are friends, but then they're not. It's weird. But then I was like, I was thinking about, I'm like, how many books now, though, are we going to have to hear about how, like, Daryl's starting to feel a bit restless, and it's probably better if he went and found, like, had his own pack at some point in the nearish future. That conversation.
Well, this is part of the reason why we're not. This is part of the reason why it's unhelpful that we are not skipping. A bunch of thoughts at the same time. Okay.
Yeah.
I think the reason why we're not actually moving forward in time is because of the idea that we're going to be getting old, and that we might have to actively address her womb at some point. I think that's the reason.
Well, because she's 36 now.
Well, like, we don't know. It's early 30s.
She was 33.
Also,
I thought she was 33 in Mooncold.
It's not explicit.
Oh, okay.
It's like early 30s. So you could say she's 31 or something at the beginning of the first one. But also, we don't know how fast she's aging. She could be physically like 25. We have no clue.
Oh, no, okay. Well, we've got the approximately 31 in Mooncold. Okay. I think she does, at this point at least, I think she does look at her age. Because she was quite shooketh to discover that Gary doesn't, like, has a long life. And she was like, oh, and then there's references to her looking older. Like, when her and Adam were on the honeymoon, she mentioned that she looked older than him.
Yeah, but also, like, 31-year-olds they don't look remarkably old in any meaningful way either.
And I feel like she probably also is aging well. because
I don't know what her skincare routine is, but yeah.
I know,
probably.
no, I know, but I just feel like though, like I feel like pretty much anyone who's not white from like up to the point of like at least 40 ages very well.
Yeah, that's
as
fair.
a general rule. Yeah, like because less prone to sun damage, for example, and she's got Native American coloring, so she probably I feel like they age really well.
So in my head also though, Adam has always looked like 35.
I know, and I think it's because he carries himself like he's
like the idea of Adam actually looking 25 I've always been like, no, override. Anyway,
Bran, I've got no idea what I think Bran looks like. I've got no idea. I've seen some fan casts for Bran sometimes, and I'm like, why does he look 12? But also, it feels accurate that Bran would look 12.
I also can't tell how big Bran is supposed to be.
Yeah, I don't
have a good idea of what he's supposed to look like. But anyway, so this book, ratings. You want to do ratings? Let's do ratings. I don't have a food rating, and that's okay. This book felt a lot more like a Mercy book than the last one did. The last one felt
like a first draft.
Because I reread it like a month or so ago, and the last one just felt off, and it still feels off to me, especially the first couple chapters. Like, just felt kind of weird. This book, while the structure was very different than what we're used to, still felt like a Mercy book, and I was really happy about that.
And it's not the first structure change she's given us.
No, and so I will say the last 3 have not been my favorites. Like since Silence Fallen, I haven't been like enthused.
Well, Storm Cursed was the friggin' those stupid witches.
Stupid Hardesty witches. Yeah.
Yes.
And you know what sucks about Storm Cursed is that it has some of my favorite. Yeah, it has some of my favorite Mary Jo moments and stuff, but they're stuck in that book, and I don't,
because that's the zombie goats, isn't it?
Yeah.
Sorry, the miniature zombie goats.
And she mentions an adorable baby dragon, and like we don't hear about baby dragons again.
Yeah.
So anyway, just drop. And then Smoke Bitten is like, it's not bad. Also, Adam's mental break is honestly kind of triggering, and so I don't like reading it. And then Soul Taken has George the BDSM enthusiast. And I'm not okay with that. I don't need to know that. That is private information. Like,
I will say sometimes Patty does go a bit too far on like the inclusivity side of things. It's just like, look, we don't need a PSA on how to say BDSM in a Mercy Thompson book.
Well, especially not in a book that honestly is so asexual, it's not even funny. Like, that's why I always get so weird when it's like
how do we go from Mexican? Yeah, like we go from flirting via Bible quotes to
well, you might be like,
this is how to say BDSM.
Yes, they are incredibly asexual sex scenes. I don't know if that's on purpose or not. I've never been able to tell, but they are the most asexual sex scenes I've ever read, and I'm okay with that for these books. I'm not here for the sex, because the older I get, the more I'm like, Mom and Dad need to stop. They need to go somewhere else.
Mercy and Adam are disgusting. They make me sick. They make me so sick. And then, like, in this one, when you texted me, and then it happened when I experienced it.
At least you had warning. I just had to raw dog that. Adam says the word kinky in this book,
Yeah,
and
he's
I
like,
wasn't
he's like, I
okay
had no
with it.
idea you. He's like, I had no idea you were so kinky. I'm like, ugh.
Yeah, right. I was like, Adam, no, shut.
Yeah, it's
So,
oh no, gross.
oh,
I-
okay. So, let's talk about the plot, maybe.
Oh, sure,
So-
yeah, sure. Plot. Gary gets turned into
I know
a
we
toddler
normally
for
go
half the
over
book.
characters. But it's been like 14 books at this point. So I'm sorry, we're not going to do that. I don't have time.
There are so many
We
characters.
have time. We have time to wax poetic about Sarah J. Maas, but not time for that.
Yes. I will say though, justice for Ben. Where the fuck has he been lately? We saw him very briefly, and we saw Honey very briefly. I feel like maybe we might get some more Honey next book because of her and Gary. Maybe.
I saw also someone say that like they'd be cool with a spin-off book with somebody else in the pack, and I would be too at this point.
Give me
feel
Ben.
like-
Give me the Ben Chronicles.
I feel like at this point, okay, so
Bennett.
for the Night Hunter series, right, it's only 7 books. And those books kind of start to wear out their welcome in like book 6. I don't know that we're at point, but sometimes I feel like we are. Or sometimes I feel like we could intersperse it with other people. It would be fine.
You know, it would be fun. Ben and Warren buddy cop series.
Yes. Immediately, yes.
And Honey can be their secretary.
Yes. Well, Honey's not secretary material, I don't feel like.
She will be the office manager, and she'll just berate them and shame them until they do better. Am I wrong?
I mean, no.
Like, she's not actually going to do a whole lot. She'll just hang around. I just want a reason for her to be there, okay?
Okay.
I love Honey. But
So
we got a little bit of Ben this book. Very briefly. I think we got one scene with Ben.
yeah, it wasn't a lot.
And for that, it gets a negative 5 out of 10. We need more Ben.
Yeah, so the book starts with Mercy getting a call from Bonorata. I forgot about this until I was thinking about it.
Oh,
She gets a call from Bonorata, and she's like, hey. And he's like, he doesn't say hey. He just makes her listen to people die.
but at first we just get like, and she's like, God damn it, it's Bonorata again.
And then she's like upset, and then she's like, I'm not, because then he'll worry. But then Adam knows anyway. And then Adam calls Ben, and he's like, do tech things. And Ben is okay. And then we're in talking about people who died in New Mexico. And then Gary shows up.
Yep.
And Gary's
And
like,
he's not okay.
actually, Gary's not like anything. He doesn't say anything because he cannot. And then Jesse is like, my step half uncle is outside.
Like, oh, can I also just say that
devastated.
Jess is a freaking idiot? Like, Jess is what, 19 now?
Yeah. Well,
She knows her father. She lives with him and has for many, many years in various amounts, but she knows him.
mhm.
And there's a weird guy, because she doesn't recognize Gary at first. There's a weird guy out on the lawn, and she's like, look, I feel like he's dangerous, but he's not unsafe for us. So instead of just going, knock, knock, knock on Daddy's office door, she presses the panic button. There's no cameras in the house. She just presses the panic button, and he breaks his office. Like the office is like soundproof. I'm guessing you can still hear a knocking though, because she's like, I guess I should have knocked. It's like, yeah, that would have been helpful. But she knows. Jessie knows that if she presses the panic button, her dad's going to think that the panic button needs pressing and will react accordingly.
Yeah.
The whole fight between Adam and Gary is Jesse's fault. If Adam had killed Gary, it would have been Jesse's fault.
Well, my thing though is because we're in Adam's head for that. Mercy's not here, by the way. It's just Adam and Jesse. We don't address why Adam just blacks out. Unless I missed it.
Because the wolf took over so much.
Okay. Why is that happening? Are we just seeing
Why?
that because we're in his head, or
I guess so, but
has this been going on the whole time?
No, he even says like it's been ages since this has happened to me. But
oh yeah, right.
And he was like, but based on this, that, the other, and all of the adrenaline still coursing through my body from Jesse pressing the panic alarm. I guess I was just vulnerable to it. And we didn't get any other explanation as to, well, actually, it was actually this instead of that. So, yeah, no, it was because Jessie decided instead of knocking on the door, she's going to press the panic button and make her father react the way that everyone knows that he would react. So, Jessie's an idiot.
Well, yeah. So we have Gary. Gary cannot speak or hear.
Yes. He can smell her.
Or see. He can smell them. Gary has been having
I think he can speak.
With a frost giant is what I got out of it. I don't know if that was supposed to be the implication.
No, I think he's just friends. They're friends.
They're just friends. Okay.
They're just friends. Because he's been having a texty.
Yeah, but it also
him and Honey have been
like
sexting.
To me, I know that, but it also still felt like to me they were just friends, as in, and they were roommates. Like, you know what I mean?
No, I genuinely think that they were just buds. Like, Gary isn't really someone who he's never been able to make long-term friendships just due to one, the length of his life, and two, Coyote's interference in his life.
Yeah.
So he's never, and the frost giant dude is just like some guy who just like lives out on the mountain alone by himself.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the two of them just were like, hey, my life sucks. And the other one was like, hey, my life sucks. They're like, maybe we can be friends. And I feel like that's what the vibe was.
Yeah.
I feel like. And poor Gary, because he's probably like, look, I don't think Coyote's bugging me on this one. So like I can have a friend. It was wrong. I feel so bad for Gary, right? Because when Coyote interferes and it's like to do with Mercy, all's well that ends well, right? And usually he helps, and usually he's helping Mercy. He helps heal her. He protects her. He cuddles up in her hospital bed, being like, and like does like Coyote like hissing. I'm assuming like I don't know if a coyote can like go, but I imagine he would have if he could have at any danger that
they
came to his baby girl.
Yeah.
Yeah, this one, he's like my baby girl, like girl dad. He's a freaking girl dad, and he's like, no, my baby girl, my precious bonbon needs like her head fixed. So like, let's do a thing, and like, fuck her brother. Like, who gives a shit about him? Not me. Never have. Never cared about Gary Laughing Dog. Poor Gary. At least the book acknowledges that Gary is treated poorly. And at least Mercy didn't call Ben a misogynist this book.
I think we're over that.
I hope so.
Yeah,
but he's barely taken part in the last few books. You know. Oh, Smoke Bitten he was in.
So after all that, we just go to Montana.
And
then the book.
Adam's like, we need Honey. we need Honey to babysit Gary because he can still see and hear and whatever, but he can't process it. But Honey, he hears Honey's voice. He's like, "Oh, it's my boo." Like there's a part of him that recognizes her voice, and
I was here
So-
for it. I was like, excellent.
it seems like Peter's fine with it too.
Well, Peter's, I don't know.
Well, I don't think Peter would be upset that she's finding solace. And he wouldn't want her to be miserable. He was precious. Poor Peter.
The other lore drop is like Larry is king of all the goblins.
Yes. Which I'm not going to lie, I kind of already suspected.
It was a good question though. Like just here,
Yeah.
'cause there's a lot of them,
I-
or like
I'm not going to lie. I don't think I don't have any memory of wondering that until she posed the question. I was like, oh yeah, I guess so. They was like, oh no, all of them. I was like, excellent.
yeah,
I love Larry.
I do too. I do too.
He's one of my
Larry's
favorite
great.
characters.
He's
That's
of
one thing
mine
as well that look, there's pros and cons to the cast that she has created. One of them is it's so big that beyond Adam and Mercy, who knows who's going to have how much of a role in each book because it's so big.
Yeah.
But then just every so often though, because it is so big, sometimes we get little nuggets. Like for example, like Baba Yaga's best friend. This book, like half of this book's plot was influenced by Baba Yaga, because she was like, "Oh, but I like my little coyote pup. Hey, bestie, can you help her?"
I like that we got
And-
to meet Spider, although I don't like. In case you don't know, I have a. It's not
I
a
don't like
phobia
spiders.
of bad guys, but it's like a strong disgust response. So like, if I see one in real life, I'll just vomit.
Did I
and
did I
I don't
send
like
you the
that I'm,
video
like,
of my daughter singing to the Huntsman Spider?
I never watched it.
She named it Viking 9.
It will make me just like throw up. It's really bad.
He's not. The spider's barely in the video. It's mostly of her. It was when she was in
It
kindergarten.
does, yeah. It's enough. It doesn't have to be much. But so I don't love that we spent a lot of the book with a spider, but spiders are not as bad as like insects. Insects are like the thing that so I would be cool if we just leave the spiders alone from now on. It's like, cool with everybody else.
Lord of the Rings must be really difficult for you.
I don't watch it
Okay.
because of that. Yeah.
Because of the spider stairs. Fair.
And before we go see any movie in theaters, I always ask around, like, are there bad
there
guys
spiders?
in the movie? Just any bugs whatsoever. Because I can't do it.
Okay, Misty. Would you
No.
freak out at a Caterpie if you lived in Pokemon Land?
The Pokemon ones don't bother me because they don't look like real ones. But in real life, yes, absolutely, I would lose my mind.
So even caterpillars freak you out.
Yeah.
What about butterflies?
I don't like far away, fine, but like up close, like when you can tell,
What about bees?
no.
What about crickets?
No.
But what if you had a bearded dragon and you needed to feed it?
That's why we don't have reptiles.
Oh. I feel like crickets
And,
is a better choice than like mice. Like that, like
Because
frozen
we
mice.
did have reptile when we moved in together, and we had to move her because I kept throwing up when we tried to eat dinner.
What type of reptile did you have?
He had a leopard gecko. She was really old. She is no longer of this earthly plane, but like she has
You
she
killed
lived a very
the
long
gecko?
time. No, I did not. I wasn't upset, honestly, but like, no, I had nothing to do with it. She
My
was
daughter
old.
wants
She's
a-
like,
My daughter wants a snake.
no, thank you.
And well, that's what my husband said. And like, I wouldn't necessarily be against the idea of getting a snake, but I don't want to have to feed it. Because I'd have to have a freezer full of dead rodents.
My grandma, her philosophy was only pets that have shoulders.
I feel like that's a good one. Oh, hi, Pat. Sorry, I just saw in the chat.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Oh,
no, I
sorry,
feel
yeah, I
like
don't
pets
have
should have
chat up.
shoulders.
pets should have
I feel like
shoulders,
pets-
and
That's fair. That's fair.
yeah,
Like I'm not sitting here going like I want a snake, but like I mean I wouldn't necessarily be absolutely against it either. Again, except for the because also when you buy them and like if you buy it as when it's young, which you want to do because like when it's like really skinny, like Amy, her stepsister has a baby snake. I don't know how big it would be now, but like when I held it, it would like wrapped itself around my finger. It was tiny, and that made daughter want a snake. But because it was so small, they had to feed it pinky mice. I think that's what they're called, which is effectively like a newborn mouse, which still looks like a mouse fetus. Effectively, like, do you know what mice look like when they're freshly born? Like they're just
Yeah.
pink and look like little jelly beans. But then obviously the bigger it gets, you have to go to mice and then rats. And I don't know if you know this, but it doesn't matter how frozen a box of frozen rodents are, it still smells like it still stinks. It stinks.
great.
It reeks. And
I
I
don't-
can't have that. I can't have it.
No, reptiles are not for me. Our bunny is good because he eats vegetables.
I like
And
bunnies.
stuff.
I want bunnies. Husband says no. He
Bunnies
won't let me
are
have any
good
more
pets.
pets. I also want chickens, and he's like, no, we have a cat, we have a dog. That's all we need. I'm like, but chickens give us eggs.
So bunnies are good. You just have to like, you know, make sure you know what you're doing with bunnies.
Yeah. But
But anyway,
yes, book.
nothing says I love you like a dead rabbit.
Wait, what? Oh yeah.
Nothing
Sorry.
that, yeah.
Yeah.
I was trying to. I'm circling back.
There was nothing says I'm sorry.
Oh, sorry. Sorry.
Because I
Nothing
had
says
a
I'm sorry
fight.
like a dead rabbit.
Yes. Okay.
So Baba Yaga.
they-
so you know how like Mercy's dad is Coyote. Baba Yaga is Biffle's spider.
wait, what? What'd
Baba
you say?
Yaga is best friends with Spider.
Yes. Yes. Silver spider specifically.
And for some reason, I was like, the spider that's following her is clearly the spider that put eggs in her feet, which I realize now is incorrect. Unless it's not.
I don't even remember that. When did that happen?
Last book, you remember when they're in Stephen's house and there's a
There is a lot about last book I don't remember. Like again, it kept referencing what the Soul Taker did to Mercy and this fight that Adam had with Banarada. I'm like, I have no memory of either of these two events. Like I remember that the
So
Soul Taker was a thing. What did the Soul Taker do to her?
So part of my issue with the last book is like the thing that she wanted us to take away is not super well explained. I don't know. It just kind of like opened her brain. Like
Okay.
if you think of opening your third eye in other media where it's like,
Okay.
you know what I mean?
And then, and then it just kept referencing about how, like, Adam massively lost to Bonorata. I'm like, I don't even remember him being in the last book. No memory.
I don't even remember that. And then also though, Adam gets kidnapped a lot. Mostly because he's not the main character, and sometimes we need to give Mercy something to do. Like, that's really the only reason why he actually gets kidnapped. But like, unfortunately, it does mean that canonically he gets kidnapped a lot.
Meanwhile, Mercy's only been kidnapped the once.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like her kidnapping was more impressive.
What do you
mean? It
mean?
was transcontinental.
Oh no, she got kidnapped by
That's what I'm saying. She's
James
been
Black.
kidnapped once. Oh, well, yeah. Look.
But that's more like
She-
she let it happen.
Yeah, she was like, okay, fine, I shall come with you.
Yeah.
Because she could have
But
not.
still, it happened.
She could have not.
Yeah.
And she rescued. Oh, well, I guess Adam rescued himself as well. Look, you got to hand it to them. They might get kidnapped, but they also free themselves. None of them need rescuing.
Yeah.
Oh no, she
Well-
had to rescue Adam first book. She had to rescue
Yeah.
Adam
Well,
first
also
book.
in the 7th book, she does have to go into his brain and
True. And make
eat
out with him.
Silver.
Yeah. Honestly, no one can come into a fantasy world halfway through the story. You have to be there from the beginning or nothing makes sense. And trying to explain it makes you sound insane.
Like, don't worry. The fact that she ate Silver out of him makes sense in context. I
From
understand that saying
from a
like
different
that-
state. Like she
Mhm.
astral projected
Yeah.
into his brain and ate his
No, they're in
silver.
the same state.
Oh, were they?
Yeah,
Oh,
they're both in Washington.
okay, fine, but they were still ways away from each other. They weren't
We
in the
didn't-
same
so-
room.
Can I ask a dumb question? Why were we so upset about Bonorata at the beginning? Because I feel like that did not, that didn't get resolved at all.
I don't know. Okay, Bonorata is like, I want a Mercy. My wolf is dead. Honey killed my wolf, and now I need a new plaything, and that's going to be Mercy because she escaped me, and so now that's what we're doing.
Because can I also be honest? I liked him in book 10, but now I'm over it. Kind of like the Hardesty Witches. I'm kind of done with him. If we could, he was more fun
Yeah, and
when we hadn't met him yet. You know what I mean?
and look, in his defense, it's been 6 years for us. Okay, 7. It's been 7 years for us since we met him.
Since
But he
Silence Fallen?
2017. We met Bonorata 7 years ago.
We read that
Well-
when it came out.
We did.
You remember
Gross.
that?
Gross. Sorry.
I know.
Whenever time
I was
passes
like,
now,
no, it
gross.
hasn't. I was like, it hasn't been 7 years. It has not. It has. Oh my god,
But-
it has. Ah,
Yes. But
ew. Make it
he's
stop.
only known Mercy for 6 months.
That is true.
So when you look at it in that and that was the point I was making with Daryl as well, right? Where it's like Daryl should really be in his own pack, but he wants to stay with us until everything gets settled or whatever. That only started getting brought up, I think, in Fire Touched, which
Mhm.
was early June, and we're in December.
Yeah.
So again, 6 months.
That's why I think I don't care that she's 34. Move it along. Like, so is Taylor Swift. Okay, she's fine.
Someone, can we just please let her get knocked up with twins already, and then her having to go through the last book up to Duff, and then the epilogue is her having the babies. And
you know what though? I'm tired of motherhood and fighting trolls not being allowed to coexist. Like, if we're worried about a womb, then give her a baby, skip ahead like 2 years so it's a toddler and you can chuck it with Aiden and maybe call it an afternoon. I don't know. If that's the reason, you know what I mean?
want her to have fraternal twins, and one of them is a coyote shifter like her, and the other one is a werewolf
Charles.
pup that's like Charles, but without the... although Mercy is part Native American, so maybe it would also have some of... I don't know, but I want Charles and Mercy babies. Well, not their babies, but as twins.
Yeah.
I
Well,
want Charles and Mercy as twins. Because she has to
Yeah.
have twins. She has the twin stuff. She has Wookiee.
I don't even know at this point, because you know what else? Jessie finally asked, when are you and Dad have a baby? She got into a car accident, and we haven't talked about it since. And I have questions. I also want to know.
Well, I would be scared to bring it up too. Last time it got brought up, Adam got kidnapped, and they had a car
That's
accident.
true. But I also want to know if Mercy even wants a kid. Like, she doesn't think about it ever. Because if she doesn't want children, which would be fine, because she talks about not wanting to be used as a brood, which even if you want kids, not being used as a brood bear is a good start, you know. But like, we don't know if she wants kids, and if she does, then like, I don't know, just do it. But if she doesn't, then we can stop cramming everything into 1 year.
Yeah, and we need... is the next book going to be Alpha Omega? Because I need to find out what the fuck is happening with Sam's baby.
Yes.
Excellent.
It's just going to be like a human. Like, that's all that's going on.
No, because she's super special, remember?
No, I know.
She? Was it she?
It's giving hope, Michelson.
Oh.
She's the ultimate hybrid.
Look, she's a tribrid. I will say that she was perfectly cast.
Who?
Like, you
Hope
look at...
Michelson?
yeah. Like,
Oh, yeah.
teenage Hope Michelson, perfect casting. When I first saw her, I was like, the fuck? And then I saw a picture of like Haley and Klaus next to her. I was like, oh God. You face merged the two of them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
Beautiful casting.
Yeah. So I'm honestly though, that season really never watched the last season of the originals because there's a lot of bad guys in it. So I never watch it.
It's
so I
also
don't
just
know
hella
like
depressing.
Yeah, I don't know like what meaningfully happened, but you know,
it all ended.
I'm here
is
for
what happened.
Jesus baby or whatever. That's cool.
Yeah. Look, I feel like Anna's going to be insufferable as a mother, and Charles is going to be amazing and endearing.
I don't think so.
I feel like she will be. Like she gets pretentious over her damn cello. You don't think she's going to be pretentious over her baby?
So whenever
that's Hope Michelson.
Whenever they talk about cellos and horses, in my brain, it's not Anna doing it. It's Patty like periodically possessing her. So
I got some PTSD this book.
I don't even
got
think
some
that is one of like Anna's character traits.
I got PTSD this book with the horses.
I do. I was like, no, not horses.
But then there was
Also confirmed from Patty's Facebook, she genuinely does work with horses.
she does.
Yes.
Look, she has to be somewhat knowledgeable of horses, right? With all the, but then I did laugh though at like Adam being like silently he cursed Charles and anyone else who had taught Mercy about the care and feeding of horses. I was like, I curse them too.
I am just glad that Mercy is not musically inclined. I'm okay with that.
Yeah. Same. Like the most we've gotten with Mercy is like she sang Oh Holy Night, was it?
Yeah.
Yeah. And she tortured Brand with the piano, and I enjoy that.
Yeah.
I enjoy that.
in this the plot is that there's a frost giant. Oh, the snow elf. So excited.
Yes!
I was because you know what?
Well, then I was disappointed. I was excited,
Yes.
and then I got disappointed.
Yeah. Well,
I need a drink.
Before, when the snow elf is first mentioned, I was like, I want to talk to him. He seems fun. And then she kept calling him an ice elf. I think somebody emailed Patty because this book, Mercy's like, the ice elf. And Adam's like, he's a snow elf. But the snow elf is a frost giant. And he's a dick. And he has a brother. And his brother is Gary's gay best friend. Maybe? Question mark. Happy Pride. Did come out in June. Happy Pride. So, and
I don't.
The gay brother has a harp lyre thing. It's a lyre, but it will become a harp. But right now, it's not a harp. But it will be.
No.
And he has to call it a harp incorrectly because that's what it will it into being a harp. Great. I'm glad that we got to repeat the sickle scythe thing from last time. Very cool.
Which was a repeat of the miniature zombie goats. Because if you didn't say miniature, then there was hell to pay.
Right. So then we also Adam mentions like somebody being like kind of weird, and he's like, maybe that person's neurodiverse. And I'm like, as if Mercy is not.
I think you just cut out for me. Sorry.
As if Mercy's not like, not to diagnose Mercy, but
to diagnose Mercy.
To diagnose Mercy. Mercy is definitely a little bit. Yeah.
A what?
We would know. I can tell. So anyway,
I feel like I actually do feel like Mercy is very like high functioning, definitely, but I feel like she actually is like massively autistic. Like the way that she fixates on, we'll go back to the harp lyre thing, or the sickle scythe thing, or the emphasizing the need to put in miniature for the zombie goats. She's very precise with her words to an to a compulsive degree.
Yeah.
And for example, my spawn, who also has all of the touches of the tism, is very precise with words. And Lord help you. Lord help you. She looked at me. She looks at you like you're an idiot. Like an absolute idiot. Like Mummy, what do hedgehogs have? Oh, spikes? No, they're quills. And she'll look at you. And yes, technically they're quills, but you can also call them spikes and it's fine, but it's not fine. And she will make you feel like the stupidest person on the planet.
I was like that as a child, and I had to learn
Same.
to
Same.
not do that, and that nobody else
Same.
cared, which upsets me to this day.
I have to tell her all the time. I'm like, look, I get it, but then also husband also has to do that to me all the time as well. He's just like, stop. He's like, Mara. And I still don't understand sometimes that I don't need to give the entire, like, if I was to talk to him about this book, he wouldn't even find out about this, right? Because he would stop me halfway through me telling the plot of the first book. And he's like, how many more books do we have? I'm like, well, there's 14 books in this series, and then there's the 6 Alpha Omega books, and then there's the short stories, and we've got to go through all of them before we can discuss this one. And he'll be like, why? Because that's the plot.
Yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of the short stories, though, I'm so glad we read them.
I know too, because like Gray was one of my favorites, and she's here.
When there was like the vampire and then the ghost, I was like, hang on a tick. I messaged you. I was like, I feel like and then I looked it up. I'm like, it is. Hooray.
I was excited. I was like, yippee.
I'm so glad we read the short stories.
Yeah.
I feel like, I don't know, like, Destiny called us to read those before this came out, because
we had nothing else going on. But yeah, so in Montana, there's oh my god. All right, so all the
we got to find
stop Ragnarok from happening every 144 years.
A woman has to marry her great grandson.
Yes. So we do that, except there's a snowstorm.
No one remembers it.
Right, there we go. Got it. No one remembers it until they need to, except for the guy who has to find a wife, take her to Hotspur, and then marry her on winter solstice.
Yes, but he needs informed consent to do it.
And so he tells her everything.
Tell her about it, and then she agrees,
but
then she forgets. But
then she remembers again.
But she's also immortal?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because he is her great-grandson.
Well, no, because that was the other one.
She marries her great-grandson, doesn't she?
Well, yeah, the one lady, but he's marrying a social worker from Chicago. Right?
I don't know now.
This was confusing. I'm not going to lie.
Grandmother. Wait, okay, so she feeds on it and it feeds on her as long as she's married to a member of the family. So let me guess, she's also Andrew's great-grandmother, great-great-grandmother, but she was also that husband's great-grandmother, and she's been marrying her own descendants for every few generations. Andrew figured it out after Zane's birth. I gather that's why Zane has no legitimate siblings. He's not only the oldest child in his generation. So she has to marry a member of her own family or Ragnarok.
No.
That's what it says. She feeds on it and it feeds on her as long as she's married to a member of the family.
Right, but she can skip the generations or whatever it is. Because he's getting married to the other girl.
Which is
Like, that's his
her.
mom. No, that's his mom. That's Zane's mother.
Really?
Yeah. The girl is like. I
Then
forget
why
her
do they
name.
have to get married?
Who?
I'm so confused now. Who's
This is
marrying who?
Of the no the so the what's her name? The social worker from Chicago is
Okay.
marrying Zane.
But
Grandma is Zane's mother.
okay, but then why does Zane have to get married?
It's to stop Ragnarok.
I
So-
thought Ragnarok was the Fae woman's thing.
No.
I am so confused now.
No,
Why?
He's just like that, I think. She just eats people. That's different.
I need to reread this book. This is what I was talking about. A lot of Mercy books, you don't get it all
Next
on
time-
the first read.
Next time we read it twice before we do this. Because
Yes.
we're both like, I don't know what's happening. Okay, so and then we get to Montana. I'm sorry, this is so out of order. We get to Montana, and then it's winter, and so there's snow, and now there's more snow, and then he's like, fee fi fo fum, you've stolen my harp. And they're like, okay, what if we get it back for you? And he's like, excellent, I will be friendly now.
But the storm is raging until he gets his heart back or everyone's dead. And because he said it, it must be so. But it doesn't. That
Right.
also doesn't make sense, right? Because
Okay.
we've established that they're not Fae. The Ice Giants are not Fae because Snow Elf lied. He lied, which means he's not Fae.
Well, we have learned that don't need.
No, only the goblins
But they-
can get around it.
Okay. But he is Fae because he has glamour, but doesn't. It's different.
But like this whole book, Mercy was like, I don't think they're actually Fae though. And then the Snow Elf lied. But did he actually actively lie or did he lie with truth?
That's so cool. Yeah. The other thing though, by the way, sorry, complete side note. So Z is Waylon Smith, and Mercy is somebody who graduated with a history degree. And I can tell you learn a lot of shit when you do that, okay? Especially about how to find stuff. You get very good at finding shit. I disbelieve that she wouldn't have figured that out, and that she would have needed to be told. I disagree. Also, it would have been much easier because we reported from 2006 to like 2020, you know? So much more Google. And I still feel like we're before Google started putting AI, you know, like now where you can't find anything. So, but if she was transported from 2006 to after Google implemented AI, then yeah, she definitely didn't find shit.
My head hurts.
Okay, so
My head hurts.
honestly, can I be honest? It's basically just we're here. We need the harp.
We gotta find the harp.
Mercy magically senses
the-
where the harp is, kills Hugo. Hugo turns into a dog. We have the harp, and
Yeah.
then the day is saved.
Because what needs to happen is the harp is vital to the wedding. But also the groom can't get to the wedding because of the snowstorm, which is only taking place because the harp is missing. So we need the harp and the groom. Otherwise, if the wedding doesn't happen, the dog will wake up and bark, and Ragnarok will
And
come.
Ragnarok will begin.
And Hugo
But don't
is
worry
the
about
dog
the snow.
that
But don't
needs
worry
to
about
wake
the
up and
groom,
bark.
though. Yeah, but don't worry about the groom either, because like he figures that out on his own.
He
So like,
does.
that's
I don't
not
know
really
how.
a plot
He
point.
just shows up. He's like, I can't believe I made it here. And
Well,
everyone's
he's
like, no,
also
I
a
can't believe you
stag.
made it here
Did
either.
you catch that? He's a stag. He's a white stag. Didn't we have a
That's
white
right.
stag
That was in
Alpha Omega?
yes,
So he's another white
that's the
stag.
one where it was the uncle and the two cousins, and one of them was a cantrip agent, were
Yes.
raping and mutilating thingies. The special cousin was a white stag.
Yeah. So he's a white stag, and that just helps him get through the snow. Really, is all that happens. So he
That's
shows
right.
up on his own. We don't have to plot our way into that. He just kind of does it for us. And honestly, Mercy doesn't do much in this book. Like, she doesn't save the day on purpose. Normally, it's like mostly on purpose. She was just mystically like, oh, this is what I have to do.
Oh yeah, and then at some point, a spider comes along and he's like, "I'm gonna have lunch on a ghost," and Mercy's like, "How dare you?" So then the spider's like, "Bye," and then somehow Mercy gets magically brain healed. And then the spider's like, "Oh yeah, Baba Yaga and I are like BFFs. We have tea every second Sunday." She was like, "Hey, help out my little puppy friend," and I was like, "Okay, fine," because I'm bored. And also, I like flirting with your dad. So that happened. Was that it? Was like the spider lady like flirt with Coyote? Is it, like they have a flirtation going? Because it felt like it was a flirtation.
Yeah.
And I don't know how I would feel about Mercy's stepmother being a spider.
Not a spider.
The spider.
The spider.
The silver spider.
We are also, if you recall from Cry Wolf, which you might not, which is fair, we are back in the cabinets.
Yes.
Not covered cabinets. And so we are like, Bran's like right there.
Oh, that was actually a really funny scene when like it was right before they find the brother, the one whose harp lyre was stolen, and Adam's a wolf and he's like doing his like little wolfy run while Mercy's like trucking along in a little van, and then she's like, "Hey, I'm like right near Aspen Creek. I could just call," and then halfway through the thought something happens and she jumps out of the car. But she's like, "Hey, I should just call," and then she just doesn't. And it made me giggle. Because she almost had the, like, we were almost there. We're about to have, like, I don't know, maybe Charles pop in or something, but then.
My AirPod died. I'm sorry.
I figured.
Oh, no.
Wait.
Yes, connect, obviously.
Hello?
But
then, yes, can you hear me? Hello? Hello? You good? Nope, not yet.
Okay, talk.
Hello? Nope. That's rude. Yeah, so while she works that out, yeah, I was like, Adam had a sat phone. I reminded myself, if we got that lost, we could call for help. We weren't too far from Aspen Creek. I could call, and then it cuts out. And yeah, I enjoyed that. Because yeah, they're oh, hello. She's left me all by myself. But so we're right near Aspen Creek, and it's been. Hey, you good now?
No. Apologies.
Yes, excellent. I don't like you doing that to me. Never, ever again, please.
I know. I'm sorry.
I liked it. I was talking about how I like the part where she was like, if we got that lost, we could call for help. We weren't too far from Aspen Creek. I could call, and then it cuts off. And she's like, I hit the brakes and the horn at the same time. Adam stopped and turned to me. And then that's when she runs out of the SUV, and they meet Frosty.
Yeah.
Which, so I like that it's mentioned. And then it's like, but we're not going to.
Yeah.
We won't. We could, but we won't. There was something else as well, and I can't remember what it was now. Oh, Bonerata. Okay, so the beginning of the book. He calls and she's like filled with dread, and any mention of him calling is like dread. And it's like, oh, but he defeated Adam, and he's creepy, and he's Bonerata, and he keeps finding my number. And then at the end, where is it? Oh yeah. He calls again, and she like puts on a fake Southern accent. It's like, thank you so much for taking my call. Do you have a few minutes? I'd like to talk to you. And then she starts doing an MLM pitch for throwing back to
Izzy's mom.
Izzy's mom. She just starts doing a pitch for that MLM thing, and Bonerata is just baffled and just hangs up on her. So it feels like she's getting her spunk back when it comes to Bonerata, which indicates that mayhaps finally at some point that problem will get resolved in a more final way.
Mm-hmm.
One would hope.
Yeah.
And look, I feel like Bonerata stalking her is going to be a barrier to her breeding, and so that needs to get resolved because I want her to have babies.
I mean,
because we've been waiting for it. We've been waiting for it since she got the stick, and we found out that it makes twins.
I mean, yeah. And
I will say though, people are gonna go ape shit if she does have twins, because they're gonna be like, oh, it's another one where the main character ends up pregnant. I was like, what do you think happens to women though? Like, what happens to the majority of women before they hit 40?
I mean, yeah, there's that. And I think the fervently people just hate, because it's like, oh, it's the pregnancy trope. I'm like, I don't know that it's like a whole trope, but I think the trope is more like, she's pregnant and she's gonna die or something.
Yeah. Like one of them is Hunger Games, that people were furious because they're like, Katniss never wanted kids. I'm like, that's literally the whole point of her having children at the end. That's literally the whole point, because there was one reason that she didn't want to have kids, and it was because she did not want to bring children into such an unsafe world. And the fact that she has kids at the end of the series shows the shift of the world at that point. And it still took her a good, I think 10 years, like Peter, a good 10 years to convince her to have babies. But that was the point. Her having children at the end of the series was literally to mirror the beginning of the series when she was like, I'm never having children. And then in ACOTAR, I got into a massively long argument. This was a couple months ago about Pharaoh and Nyx. And they're like, oh, she's just been relegated to like some background character mother who like, you know, and I'm like, how? And they're like, oh, well, like in Silver Flames, like her entire plot was like her being pregnant. I'm like, well, one, she wasn't the main character. Like, and two, she wasn't the main character. And then also because she wasn't in Crescent City, she wasn't in Crescent City. It was Reese, and they're like, well, I don't know why. And I'm like, well, because Reese speaks the old language. She doesn't. They're like, oh, but she could have. She's High Lord, like, or High Lady. She could have been involved. I'm like, but no, she's at home with the baby. I'm like, because Reese speaks the language, and Reese is barely in it. He's in it for like a minute, and then he leaves, and then that's it.
Yeah.
But I think they're forgetting though that Feyre like never had any interest in being a fighter. Like, Feyre wanted one thing, which was like she just wanted to chill. She just wanted to be able to do charity work. That was it. That was her entire thing. She wanted to do charity work. That's what all of her fights with Tamlin were about. She's like, I want to go and help the villagers, please. And he's like, no. And then in Frost and Starlight, she finds the gallery thing, and she's like, I'm gonna open a gallery and teach children or war orphans how to paint. And so that's what she's doing. She's doing exactly what she wanted to do. They're like, oh, she was such a strong fighter. I'm like, yeah, because there was a war happening, and now the war is over, and she just wants to do charity like she wanted to do the entire series. She never wanted to fight. She's not Nestor. So I don't. I feel like people ignore a character's traits with their own perceived idea of what that character should be, and then they get mad that the character is consistent.
I think especially with like mostly with like traditionally feminine things or motherhood.
Yeah.
I think part of it is that motherhood always comes at the end of the story. So
which to me makes sense for two reasons. One is there's usually wars and battles happening. No one wants a fucking baby during that, unless your name is Kale and Irene. Luckily, they managed to end the war before the baby came, so huzzah. And two, how inconvenient would it be for plot to be like, oh yeah, no, we got to go save the day and do battle, but first I have to go and change this nappy and feed the kid and put it down for a nap.
Honestly,
and find a new babysitter because
it would be refreshing at this point. I'm not gonna lie. I'd be here for it.
I know, but I can understand why it's at the end, because like
I can understand why, but I think it feeds into the unhelpful narrative that your life has to be over after you have kids.
Well, look, I feel like if your life consists of going to battle where like 80% of the people participating in it die, maybe that part of your life should be over when you have kids.
Okay, but we're talking about like urban fantasy series where everybody has plot armor.
Okay. Sure. Fine. Okay. Fuck you. Is my answer.
Well, also there are other people's kids, and I like inclusion of other people's kids. It's fun.
Look, I feel like if there was going to be a series in which they could comfortably have twins, because I'm not giving up on the twins thing until like she writes that they're not having twins, they're having twins. I feel like if there was going to be a series, if there's going to be a series in which there's twin newborn babies, and yet the plot can still continue, it will be this one, because that's another advantage of the incredibly large cast she has given us. Jessie is going to be stoked to be a big sister, and she's going to be babysitting. Daryl and Arielle are going to be like, oh my god, betters. Tad and Z are going to be like Uncle Tad and Uncle Z, or Grandpa Z.
Imagine having
Coyote's probably going to be rocking up, being like, these are my precious little baby girls, babies. Thank Christ one of them's a girl. I like her. The son will see. because apparently
They could
Um,
also, I'm sorry, I feel like Adam is secretly a billionaire thing, so I feel like they could also hire an entire other werewolf pack to specifically bodyguard the one, like the
Yes!
babies as
like,
well.
and
Like, fine.
Uncle Ben is gonna be like he's gonna become the Manny. He's gonna be moving in.
And then because the spider's involved now, we have an Uncle Ben. The kid grows up
like
to become Spider-Man. It's all coming together. No, because
Yeah,
also
exactly.
though, you don't have to like, you know, get super into like pregnancy thing or whatever. You could just have the next Mercy book. It's like the only thing that
Ends with
happens in year
pregnant.
4. She's pregnant, and we just skip to like
Yeah.
year 6
The
or
next-
something where they're like
Look,
toddling.
that or again, they could just still be babies. The next book could end with I'm pregnant, and then the next book could start up with like, and she's keeping it a secret from Adam. She's like 4 months pregnant at this stage, and we don't know. We just know she's hiding something from Adam, and then the book ends with her finally telling him. And then we skip forward 6 months because like it's not weird. I mean, this in universe year it's weird, but in general it hasn't been weird to have like 6 months or more in between books. And then she's got babies. They're starting to get into a groove of things, and Mercy has the world's biggest village, so she can still be Mercy Thompson Houtman, wife of and mate of the Columbia Basin Pack Alpha, and she can still do her thing, and it'll be fine because again, she'll have Grandpa Z and Uncle Tad and Sister Jessie and Grandpa Coyote, and her mother will come, and that's going to be fun because her mum's going to yell at Coyote, being like, you do not interfere with my grandchildren. How fucking dare you? And he's going to be like, but they're mine. And it's going to be a whole thing.
Mercy's mother. I love Mercy's mother
Yes.
so much.
Yes. Because the best thing about her is she's worse than Mercy. She out Mercy's Mercy, and it's great. And you know what, though? You know which character I hope never comes back, though? Christy.
Sam. I'm done. I'm over Christy.
I think she's my least favorite character.
Yeah,
like, I'll
be
take even Tim. Tiny Tim from book 3.
I don't know about that, but
look, he was just he was a bad guy. It's like Voldemort and Umbridge, right? Like Voldemort did objectively worse things. I still prefer him over Umbridge, and Christy is Umbridge to me. Tim got a very satisfying death. He got ripped apart in a very satisfying way, and no one was pandering about how he's precious and we need to protect him, because that's half the annoying thing about Christy.
Nobody was trying to
protect him.
Nobody was trying to redeem Tim. Thank God.
Exactly. And like Adam is like her biggest victim, and yet like he spends half the book being like, but we must protect Christy, and yes, Christy, insult me harder. Like, whereas, Tim is just like, oh God, you're pathetic. And then it's like, oh God, you're creepy. Oh God, you're dead. Yay. And everyone just collectively is like, yay. And he gave me some good laughs when he was trying to correct Sam on his Welsh pronunciation. Like,
she definitely had the incel thing down. Like,
she was doing great. Wasn't a caricature though. Like that's one of the things is they'll often make them like this one-dimensional caricature, which like the rapey guy in the gym.
Met them, kind of like that, but
yes,
like, because he is, like he is kind of one-dimensional, and she's like, oh, he's just really sad and like kind of, oh God, oh ew.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and like when he's awkwardly acting Sam, she's like, "Aw, a pathetic puppy. Gross."
Yeah. Yeah, it's look, I'm not saying he's morally a better person than Chrissy, although maybe I don't, because again,
No.
Chrissy's evil in a different way.
Yeah. Well, Mercy, unfortunately, in book 3 had to learn what we all learn, which is that if you go, "Oh, it's like pathetic," somebody should be friends with it, not you.
Never you.
Never you.
No.
Unfortunately, it's a lesson we usually have to learn the hard way, but if you
Look,
don't have
and
to,
like, look, it normally
and it
doesn't go to
hasn't
this
happened.
extent, right? Normally it ends with like a 3 a.m. like Facebook message being like confessing their their undying love, and then you have to like kind of awkwardly be like, "Ugh." Mercy got the worst case scenario, to be fair.
Yes. But never you, because it can
Never
escalate to
you.
them, and they are capable of it, and it's terrifying.
Especially if you're in a world with magic.
Yes. The bear. Instantly. I asked
Like-
you know the man versus bear thing, right?
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie.
Okay.
Like that whole thing though, like I feel like I'm too autistic for that, because I'm just like, obviously I'd pick a man. Like I'm not like picking a bear. They'll eat me alive. They will
Guys,
eat my
bears?
intestines. Huh?
Do you have bears? Do you
No.
have bears? Okay,
But
we
you know
do.
what?
That's why.
Look. it
That's
depends,
why
though.
you're afraid
If
of
it-
the bear.
Look, if it's a black bear, look, I'm probably not gonna want to be friends with it still, but I'm gonna be less terrified. If it's a grizzly
Right.
bear, like I'm sorry, I'm gonna pick the guy that has a big fucking gun. He's gonna shoot the bear for me.
Here's my thing about the bear, but I had a point I was gonna make. But my thing
Yeah,
is, if
sorry,
I
go.
leave the bear alone, it will actually leave me alone, which is
Not
my
if it's
favorite
hungry.
trait. No. For the most part, no.
And not if it's a polar bear.
Well, yeah, but like, I don't live
Just
near
stay out of
polar bears.
Alaska and you're fine.
I was asked if I came across a bear in the woods or a strange bear, and yeah, bear. But I asked my dad this because he does, he's like Adam. He doesn't pay attention to anything. So I asked my dad this, and he didn't know that we meant like just a random, you don't get to pick the man. And he was like, "Well, you could be in the woods with your husband." And we're like, No, a random bear, like a random man. And he went, "Oh, the bear."
I will say though, like you guys are fucking wild, right? Okay, because like what is the biggest trope about Australia? That all of our wildlife wants to kill you, except for the fact that you never see the deadly wildlife. Ever.
Yeah, it's like in the outback where nobody else is as well.
Yeah, well, look, no, like, look, the funnel web is. There are probably thousands of funnel webs within a stone's throw.
Oh
from
God,
me.
carbine.
But you know what I've never seen in real life? A funnel web spider. Like you
Yeah.
just don't see them. Okay, and there's poisonous snakes around, or venomous snakes around here as well. But luckily, we don't have the aggressive ones. Like we have like red bellies, but if you see them, like you're just like, oh look, there's a red belly. I'm just going to turn around and walk the other way, and it doesn't chase you. It's just like, oh, bye human, thank you for not stepping on me. So they're chill. But you guys are like, but all the wildlife was secure. I'm like, you guys have cougars and bears and gators and wolves and coyotes.
Gators are also generally like, just don't touch the water. It's not hard not to get eaten by a gator, okay? I'm sorry.
No, I know, but like
a crocodile, though.
You guys have
the crocodiles are.
It depends.
The crocodiles are spreading, and they are
salties. Only the salties. The freshies are chill. It's the salties, and they're all the way up north where it's too hot to live. Like there's people that live up there, but they're idiots.
We have crocodiles.
Oh, you
and
have
they're
salties.
spreading. And they're crank.
Salties?
We don't have saltwater crocodiles. We have freshwater ones, right?
Oh,
But they're not.
so but freshwater crocodiles here, at least here.
Yeah, they're
our
not
ones are chill.
freshies. They're a separate species from yours.
Yeah, our freshwater crocodiles are so chill.
Ours are not.
Like you could put a lot of them. Like, look, I still would not recommend swimming in a pond with freshwater crocodiles. I would not recommend it. But they're not going to hunt you like the saltwater crocodiles will. Oh, like no. But like, you guys have an entire continent of predators that will actively try and hunt you if they're hungry.
I mean, a cougar, yeah, they're
Yes.
aggressive. A
Bobcats.
grizzly bear would prefer not to. A bobcat,
I've seen videos of bobcats chasing toddlers down streets.
well, yeah, a toddler. Not you though. I'm not a toddler.
Hey, you know what though?
Bobcats.
Like my toddler that's no longer a toddler can play in my front yard with no risk of a bobcat coming and trying to eat it. Just saying.
I've never personally been afraid that a bobcat was going to eat anybody, but that's okay.
But like we had a dingo eat a baby once.
You did. But what happened to the mom was arguably worse.
Yes. I feel like the baby would have died quick, so yes. But the baby wasn't aware of what was happening. I don't know. I don't know how we got to
the dingo incident.
We went from man versus bear to you guys have bears to fuck you all because you guys have a continent full of predators and we don't to a dingo ate a baby once.
Oh, we were talking about Tim.
Tim!
Why, though.
Because I said that I hate Christy more than Tim.
Okay. Right.
Oh, Timmy.
No. No, not that. I don't know what we're doing. I don't know where we're at.
I don't know where I'm at right now. I'm getting tired and I'm starting to sympathize with Tim. And I don't know why. He's a rapist. Stop me.
Well, yeah,
he broke Mercy's arm and then made her still. Yeah, okay, I'm good. I'm back. Bad guy. It's because I was calling him Timmy, and that automatically like invokes like a oh you poor thing, because Timmy.
Yeah, but
we can't call him that. We can't call him Timmy. Well, I'm tired, especially.
You know what I want out of the series is I want enough time to pass that the family from book 2 can be told that their dad didn't kill their mom.
Oh, that would be lovely.
Wouldn't it? Like, but
you know what would be? Oh, like what if it had like a Lord of the Rings, Return of the King style, like end where every time you think it's done, it's like no, you still got another half hour of like ending montage to go, and it like just shows like random snippets of various scenes throughout the next however many years. Because like she does sometimes do like kind of like a blend of things. Like for example, like Mooncalled, the way it ends is like you think the book's over, but then it like skips forward to when like to after everyone's found out about werewolves. So she could kind of just do like a montage of like throughout the years and include that. like we don't need a whole thing. Just like if it ends, and we can just have a little snippet of tying up all those things of like one day in the future.
I still don't know
And-
how you end a series like this other than just stopping.
I feel like the montage would be the way to go, though, if you're gonna actually end it.
Because every series that I've read like this, where I'm like, I'm gonna read a really long series and see how it ends, they're not over. Like, they haven't ended. So
Well, there is another way to end it.
you could just kill her, but like, that doesn't bring a
That feels
conclusion to like
depressing,
the
though.
universe or whatever.
I feel like, yeah, I don't know. In some ways, I don't think this would be right for this series because that's not the theme of this series. But Angel, it's a like this show, not book series. The whole theme of that show was like evil's always going to be there, but that doesn't mean you stop fighting. I can't remember what the actual motto was, but there was actually like a phrase that got repeated multiple times throughout the series. But the whole point was like you just keep fighting the good fight effectively, and that's the way that the series ends. Is like they take down spoilers for like a almost 20-year-old series, by the way. They take down this final like circle of bad guys, and then the senior partners like send all the demons to LA, like all of them. There's dragons flying around. There's like monster demons. Like it's insane, and it ends with them all like meeting up and like looking out, being like, "Oh shit, like we're all gonna die," and they're like, "Okay, cool, let's go fight," and then it just cuts out. Because that's the theme of like that's the theme of the show is it doesn't end, you just keep going.
Yeah, and like we just stop writing it now.
But I don't feel like that would be right for this series. This series needs a conclusion. I just don't know what it would be.
I don't know how you do it either.
Oh, I just thought of the book. I just remembered the book that has like the montage of like tying up the loose ends, but it was just like within that book. It's the one. It's an Alpha Omega book, and it's the one where they go to the place and the FBI chick is there, and it's got like the little possessed demon girl that's like hurting herself, and the one with the dolls and like the sticks.
Yeah.
The fetch book, that one. At the end, it has like about the girl that starts to speak. Bran shows up on that dad's doorstep to look up, like to fix, like with the blind witch to fix the girl, and it kind of resolves like all those open end. The drunk lady had like the photo of the werewolf, but it was blurry, and it kind of just tied up all those loose ends from the book. Just in like this little tiny montage at the end, and I feel like that's might be a nice way to end the series is a montage. I was kind of like joking before, but now like that I've said it, I'm like, it feels right.
Yeah.
And I am depressed now though. I had forgotten about the trucker from book 2.
Well, you know, it hasn't been that long though. Yeah.
But yeah, in universe it hasn't been that long. In my life, it's been near a decade. But oh well, it is. It is like 1 a.m. almost.
Yeah, I don't know that we successfully covered the plot, but also I don't know if the book successfully covered the plot either.
Look,
however,
they had to save
it.
the
That's not to
wedding,
say
so
I
then they
didn't
went and
like
saved the wedding.
I'm not saying I didn't like it. It just
Look, this book, I think, warranted. I enjoyed it. Like I said to you like before we went, like it felt like she was back this book. Like last book, she wasn't Patty. This book, she was Patty again.
Yeah.
But I think
I also read this. I normally reread Mercy books on like 1.2. I read this one on 2.5 to get it done. So I also may have missed
I
some
feel like
information.
you probably could have just gone, hey, I'm not going to get it done. Can we do a different day?
The problem is I was excited and I didn't, so I put it 1.2 and then I just wanted to know everything that happened. I do this when like these new books come out. I'll read them on 2.5 and then I never read them like that again.
I think normally as well, part of my issue as well was I normally do a whole series, like entire, and it obviously gets longer each time. But I do a whole series reread before the new book. And I just didn't have time for that this time. And again, I spent a good chunk every time they mentioned like what the Soul Taker did to Mercy. It would take me out of it as well. Because I'm like, what the fuck did this Soul Taker do to Mercy? I don't remember. Like, I don't remember.
Like ripped open her brain.
Yes, I know, but I didn't remember that that's what it did.
Oh, okay. It made her.
Like I had no memory.
It made her see into people's souls.
Yeah. So I was also just confused for part of the book as well. But again, that was a me thing. It wasn't the book thing. It wasn't the book's fault. It was my fault.
Yeah.
But I know I'm going to enjoy this book when I reread. It's not one of the ones that when it's time to start it, I'm going to be like, ugh, because I like it. I just am currently confused.
Yeah. But I guess we'll be back. We'll be back here next time there's another Mercyverse book to talk about.
Yeah, and the next series we're doing with Addie is
Night Huntress.
That one. I'm dreading these books. With his
Why
voice.
are you dreading them?
That voice.
The voice is pretty bad. But it'll be okay.
Will it though?
Yeah, it's fine.
Will it?
If you want to be attracted to Bones, then no. But if you weren't worried about that, which I wasn't, then it's fine. He's somebody else's boyfriend, so it's none of my business. And unfortunately, also, that is kind of just what British people sound like in real life.
Some. Not most. Not most. I can tell you that. I promise it's not most.
Well, there's at least one.
Like, look, there are literally hundreds of British accents. Literally hundreds.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the one she chose.
Mm-hmm. Well, he is. I think he's supposed to have a Cockney accent. I think that's.
Does he? I haven't read the book, so I don't know.
I think so.
Bones. Night Huntress. If I look at his wiki, is it going to spoil anything? Backstory.
Probably.
I don't know. I'll probably forget it. Like it's like 1 a.m. Like as long as I don't actually try and take a like retain the thing. That's what I do when I was like chapterized. Like I intentionally like refuse to. Oh look, maybe he was born in London, England, and he was a prostitute. So like he very well could have had a Cockney, I guess. But he also then came to Australia at one point. Oh, lovely. He was turned here.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah,
He
London.
was turned there.
London.
He was turned there
London
by
and-
he was turned there by a friend who was turned there by an Egyptian vampire.
Right, because if you want to find an Egyptian vampire, you go to the penal colony of Australia.
Mm-hmm.
That makes absolute sense.
Yeah. Her grasp on like an execution of using history is some between, like, it's on purpose, but it's like if Sarah J. Maas was doing it on purpose.
Look,
You know what I mean?
but why Egyptian?
He's a character. He's a guy. It's fine.
Okay. But like, yeah, look. I feel like $250, give or take,
Mm-hmm.
is enough to lose that aspect of your accent. Call me crazy.
Mm-hmm. Well, he didn't. So this is where we are now.
Well, he did in the graphic audio.
That's true. He did do that in the graphic audio.
Yes.
That's correct. I might listen to the graphic audio just to have like a different experience since I've read the book.
I will tell you that they're significantly shorter than the Akatar graphic audios.
Yes, they are. My favorite
Anyway.
thing about graphic audio is that it shortens audiobooks. That's the best part.
Yes. Yes.
But yeah, anyway, we'll be doing that soon. I can go whenever because I know the plot of that book without reading it. But
we'll have to work that out at some point, I feel like.
yeah. It's funny that you were like, I feel bad for Timmy, because there's a Timmy in this book and you're gonna like Timmy.
Will I actually like Timmy?
Yes. I like
Okay.
Timmy.
Okay.
Timmy's fine.
Yeah, we need to I need to not call Mercy Timmy, because Timmy
Yeah,
again
he's not
engenders.
Timmy.
Yeah, Timmy engenders sympathy, and Tim does
Right.
not get sympathy.
This Timmy will get sympathy.
Excellent. Wait,
He's kind of
does he need,
he's
does he
like
need sympathy?
yes.
Oh,
He's a little
That's sad.
tragic.
that's sad.
But he's fun. He's the fun kind of tragic. You'll see what I mean.
Okay.
Okay. So we'll
Okay.
do that sometime soon.
Yes.
And yeah. I think
yeah.
that's
Guess
it.
we'll just
Bye.
bye.